I just checked out Apple's Vision Pro headset. It is damn good. It is really, really good. Okay, how do I start this video properly? Because let's just go back to the keynote. Keynote happened, we saw the headset, we saw the price, $34.99, coming out next year. I was like, okay, this thing is probably good, but maybe not that good. Fast forward to me, literally 30 minutes ago. I just came from an hour demo with the Apple Vision Pro headset. And I have to say, I was thoroughly impressed. I was shocked. And I'll tell you why. Kind of just take you through the whole process I went through. Now, with this demo, we weren't able to record any of our interaction because, again, this was early for them, so they said no recording, but you can experience it. And they made sure they were able to kind of size and calibrate the headset for each individual. So in my case, I got the headset. I had 2 Apple employees in the room. The reason I say that is because my interaction with them while using the headset was quite interesting. The headset itself looks exactly like what you saw in the keynote. Well built, pretty solid. This had the battery pack attached to it because, of course, they were running longer demos. We do know the headset itself, 2 hours of battery. With the battery pack, Apple promises all day. Now, I was able to put on the headset quite comfortably. The band at the back is nice. There's a little kind of rotor that can tighten it a little bit, and there's a top strap. And then you've got the crown. Now, in terms of functionality, most of the functionality is done with gestures, with your fingers and looking around with your eyes. The crown is kind of going back to home screen, or maybe, and also just increasing the opacity and blocking out the world and kind of getting to your own space, right? But the first thing you have to do is calibrate your eyes, and there's a short calibration session. It's turns out 2 minutes, and you're in. And this is where the magic happens. This is where you jump into it, and the first thing you see is Vision OS home screen. Very simple, very clean, but what was cool about it is the spatial distance. You've got LiDAR sensors, depth cameras. You have multiple cameras on this thing, and it felt like an episode of Black Mirror where there were, people had the VR headsets or AR headsets, and you could clearly see the floating display. But this wasn't like jittery, it just felt fixed. Now, I had a rep on my left, and the distance between the rep and the display, I could calculate it. It was probably like a 1.5 foot. And I liked that it was there, it was physically there. And then came using gestures. I thought that would be difficult, right? I thought it wouldn't work well. That was one of my biggest concerns. So initially, to tap on an icon or open something, you have to just basically tap with your fingers. So I had my hand in front of me most of the time just because I figured, hey, the cameras are in front, I'll do this. And I realized in 3 to 5 minutes, I didn't have to raise my hand up. And just like the video from the keynote, I was just right below, down there, and I was just tap, tap, move and stuff. So you could tap, drag, drop, you can move windows around. So multitasking is really easy. I thought it would be difficult. Now, this also helps because you've got sensors around your eyes while you're in the headset. So that tracks that. You've got sensors outside. So while you're moving things around, it doesn't feel like it's floating or you're going to get dizzy or any of that stuff. Tracking is really good. Now, we looked at photos. The Photos app was cool because you could go through photos, navigate through, swipe through. You could also check out the panorama photos, and once you get into that, it just takes over your whole view, and you're like, okay, wow, this is what panorama images should look like. Now, there were also 3D photos and 3D video. I really liked the video because it felt like you jumped into a memory. Again, I'm going to go back to Black Mirror because it felt like you jumped to an episode where you could tap into a memory and you were like, wow, yes, I remember when, it was my kid's birthday and they were blowing out the candles, like you were there. That's the visual representation. It didn't look like I was watching